start. We're just going to wait for another minute for all the guests to join us so that we don't miss the initial excitement of this Olympic talk. Thank you, Ms. Ashwini, for switching on your camera. I've been waiting to see you on this special Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic talk.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heena. We're finally able to see you. That's after a long time. We started our first Manav Rachna Happy Times, I remember, with you, and it's been a wonderful journey. It's almost more than a year now. So. We also have Dr. Amit, Vice President, Manav Rachna Educational Institutions, who's also a part of this webinar. So, good evening once again. Before we formally begin, maybe you can just say hello to Ashwini and
Heena. Hello to Ashwini and yeah. Hope you guys are well at your places.
Hello, Amiji.
Hi, Heena.
Hi, good evening. All well, thank you.
Right. Has Jordan also joined, or we're waiting for him?
Yes, we're just actually waiting for him. Something came up at his end, so we're just helping him join.
Okay.
We felt Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic talk. The element of happy times will always tell when we have more participants, and that's why we have a sensation from Punjab, Mr. Jordan Sandhu. We are waiting for him to join the Manav Rachna Olympic talk. In the meantime, all the guests are joining us. Welcome to Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic talk. Our guests are here with us, and we shall begin in the next few minutes. We also have Mr. Ranjan Sodi, who has joined Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic talk. Good evening and welcome. And we see her very junior guest. We have Ibadat. I can say Ibadat, you can wave at everybody before we formally begin the Olympic talk. Sports is one thing that excites everybody and binds everybody across all age groups, and that's exactly what we can see even as we see the guests who are joining us today for Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic talk. It gives me great pleasure to share with all the guests who are joining us that it's been more than a year that Manav Rachna Happy Times has been bringing smile and loads of inspiration to lives of everyone. It's last year that we realized that while everybody was locked up in their house, and that it was the little things that always brought happiness to our face. So Dr. Palla, it was his idea that we start the concept of Manav Rachna Happy Times, where I am happy to share that we have been able to speak to Olympians, IAS officers, major generals from the army, and a lot of guests from different walks of life who have shared their journey very generously with us about how they were able to get to where they were and they are in life as on today. So this journey has now, I'm happy to share, completed more than a year. And we just felt that as Olympic Games were close enough at this point, it's important that we also became a part of the spirit. And so therefore, we've arranged Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic Talk, and we have our special guests who are here with us. All the guests are joining alongside whoever's joining. I'd like to welcome all the guests who are joining us for Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic Talk. We are just waiting for a few minutes because we have a request from our guest as something personal came up, but we shall begin shortly. Thank you so much for being patient with us and being a part of this Olympic Talk. With that, as our guests are still joining, but I would not like to keep the others who have already joined us, I would not like to keep them waiting. So, once again, good evening, everyone. And I'm Ritika Singh. I would like to welcome all our guests who are here with us for a very special Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic Talk. There is a lot of excitement in the air, as we all can see, as we draw closer to the start of Olympic Games in Tokyo. The whole nation is wishing well for our sports persons who are representing the country with grit and determination. And so today we felt that since it's been more than a year that we have been inviting sports persons and famous persons from all walks of life to Happy Times, we are here to talk about Olympics, we're talking about strategies, coping mechanisms, and more. And here, as a part of Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic Talk, today here we have Miss Heena Sidhu. While she is a very, very well-known name, but I would still take this opportunity to, introduce her formally. She is an ace shooter, former world number one, world record holder, and Olympian for the years 2012 and 16. Heena Sidhu's name is a synonym of success. She has won medals at the Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, World Cup, and has been a national champion multiple times. What's most interesting about Heena is that she's a doctor, she's a dentist, she's a pro wildlife photographer, she's a painter, she loves cooking, and at this point, she's in a very happy space. And we wish her well, that everything goes well with her. We also have on the show here with us Miss Ashwini Ponnappa, an accomplished badminton player known for her thunderous smashes and gritty displays on court. She holds the distinction of being one of the first Indian women shuttlers to win a gold medal in doubles category at the World Badminton Championships. She has represented the country at national and international level, an Olympian for years 2012 and 16. She again has won many medals at the World Championships, Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, and she has made our country proud on many occasions. Welcome, Ms. Heena and Ms. Ashwini on this show.
Thank
And today, to keep the spirit going, we also have a very special guest who is here, who's yet to join us to cheer the Indian team and lift their spirits, a Punjabi music sensation who has a huge following, Mr. Jordan Sandhu. Before I can, go any further, we have tried to collect the memories of all our guests here today, and we have a video to play so that you can just refresh your memories. Thank you very much for that video. I'm sure as you see these pictures, there's a lot that gets refreshed at this moment for all of you. And at this point, I would request Dr. Amit Bhalla to please welcome everyone formally, Vice President, Manav Rachna Educational Institutions. Please.
Thank you, Ritika. So at first, I would like to send my greetings to Heena, Ashwini, and as soon as Jordan joins, and also all the viewers and listeners who are connected with us today on this digital platform. So sports is in the air, and for last few weeks, it is building up with Olympics coming up, and good number of participation from India, and we are hoping that we will have some good performance from all our players who have put in their best in last so many years. So we thought of connecting and reconnecting with our friends, with people who have created a mark, who have represented India with at different national, international level, at Olympic levels. Therefore, we thought of starting this Olympic series so that we can hear your heart, how this journey is, how easy or how difficult it is to reach at that level. I have been fortunate enough to have few friends who are Olympians who have won medal for the country and have heard, have felt their effort, have felt their emotion, have been part of their, understanding their sacrifices, what they have done when it comes to playing for the country and playing for your national flag. So just wanted that you people should come and share with the youngsters who are here on this platform, who will be listening to your success stories, how to balance education, how to understand sports administration, how to understand emotions, how to create a balance between your family life, between your sports commitments, what kind of support do you get from your family members, what are the role of the parents, how they support you, how your peer take you up, how does, what role does media plays you in building a player, or what player is, or maybe putting up a pressure on the player before performance. So all these things is what we wanted to know firsthand from champions like you. So I wish you all the very best, and my best wishes to the Indian team, the team India, which is there right now in Tokyo, and praying to Lord that the Tokyo Olympics should happen without any problem of COVID. We have been hearing that there are few cases which were there, but keeping the fingers crossed and want that this spirit of sportsmanship, brotherhood, bringing people together, winning, succeeding should continue. So my best wishes to all of you who are here, and a special thanks to Heena, Ashwini, and also Jordan for joining us today here.
Thank you very much. Yes, that definitely sets the webinar at this point going. Um, like Dr. Bhala just mentioned, that there is so much excitement at this point. So we have a couple of questions that we would like you to answer. So, maybe starting with you. This being our special Olympic talk series, I'm sure as you think of your times, there's so many memories that cross at this point. But talking about Olympics, what was the thought taking the first shot? Do you have any memory of that?
Taking the first shot.
Yes, like you've gone to represent the country, and there you are with the people cheering. You're all prepared,
I had
and
to I had to cancel my first shot, I think 3, 4 times because I was so nervous. That was in 2012
yes,
London Games,
yes,
and with a shaky start, I got my bearing, and then I sailed through the match. So it's not easy. It's not easy. The pressure, the nervousness, and everybody faces it. It's not just me. I know that everybody who was standing in the hall on my left on or on my right faced it in their own in their own game in different ways. Um, you're not able to sleep the night before. Um, you're just thinking about that one day for so many months, so many years. And I also realized that once my match had gotten over, I didn't even have a plan for lunch that day. Like, what am I going to eat for lunch
Yes.
that day? So much planning had gone for that one match of 1.5 hours for 4 years. What time will I take my breakfast? What time will I take the bus? What time will I even have a bathroom break? What time will I be on the range? What time I should be ready for the finals? So after the match got done, suddenly I was like a free bird and I didn't realize abhi kya karu, abhi lunch kitne baje khana hai. So it's a very difficult and a very different kind of an experience going to your Olympics, especially if it's your first. It was much better for me for my second Olympics because I had gone through it. I knew um, what to expect and we had planned for it beforehand.
Okay. That is interesting to know. I mean, you practice for 4 years. You make plans in your head. I'm going to, start this way, that way. But when the moment finally hits you, it's a different thing altogether. I'm
Yeah,
glad you've shared.
you have to take your time to um, start off. You don't want to make any mistakes. In
Yes.
shooting, we are lucky we can cancel our shots in air pistol
Mhm.
shooting.
Mhm.
We can cancel our shots, we can take our time. But in a lot of sports, you don't get to cancel. And in a lot of shooting sports also, you don't get to cancel. So you just have to go. So every sport has a very different mindset and yeah, requires a different sort of preparation.
Well said. Right. With that, Miss Ashwini, you know, um, we have been reading so much, and we've been really looking forward to hearing from you. You've participated at so many competitions. At this point, as you are here with us, which is your most memorable competition, and what makes it memorable for you?
I would probably say the 2010 Commonwealth Games, and it's something that I've said a lot of times. And for me, that is an event that's really dear because we had the Commonwealth Games in India and we happened to perform well in front of our home crowd. So definitely the Commonwealth Games 2010 is really dear to me and something I would never forget. And apart from the fact that we had the Commonwealth Games in India and the entire nation supporting us, I really enjoyed the entire tournament. And that is something that was really important for me from the moment we got to the venue, the village, going to eat, going to the stadium, getting ready. Every single thing is something that I remember and I really cherish. And that's what makes that really special.
Great, great. Taking the same thing forward, Hina, you just mentioned that you were lucky that you were able to take time and you were able to start, you had that opportunity. But still, I'm sure there are, so many moments when one gets nervous and sometimes you don't really have a choice. So, do you ever recall a time when you were quite nervous? And so, how did you really manage yourself? Any memory specific that comes to your mind?
This is, I think, my first Olympics was the match that I was most nervous at. Other than that, I mean, you do feel different levels of nervousness, of pressure, and the thing is that you have to include that nervousness and pressure in your training. You cannot run away from it. You cannot just wait for it to not come one day. It will always be there like a shadow. The more you care for a match, the more you care to do well, the more nervous you will feel.
That's true.
If
That's true.
you're not feeling nervous, I always tell myself, if I'm not feeling nervous, that means that I don't care for it enough.
Mm. So you feel it's all right initially to start with as you're nervous, but I think you just have to kind of take that, as you mentioned, as a part of your training and get used to it.
Yes. So you have to include it as a part of training. The coach taught me to plan, include nervous part of your training. And the more you deal with it, I mean, and how to deal with it. in a real life match.
Okay. You may just want to check the internet slightly. I guess we were able to get what you were saying now.
Yeah.
Slightly, maybe the weather's bad or could be some reason it's breaking up. But while you just check, sure, that's fine. We wait for you while you check onto that. Um, I have a question for you, Ashwini. That generally, when you're preparing for something like Olympics, uh, everyone is conditioned, to win. And in the last more than 1 year that I've been at, this platform of Manav Rachna Happy Times, and this time in specific Olympic talk, I have often heard sports persons mentioning that in sport one learns how to win, but more importantly, how to lose. So, what are your thoughts on this? And if ever, how did you handle your misses? And how did they help you to come back stronger?
Well, fortunately, in badminton, we've got tournaments all year round, and every single tournament is pretty big. So you know that you get done with one tournament. In case you do badly, you have another tournament. And of course, I think at an early age, you learn that losses are a part of sports, and that's something that's going to like help you get better. But losing never feels good, no matter how many times you've lost, it never feels good. But over
Yes.
time, you realize that with your losses you learn and you try and incorporate whatever you've learned into your game the next time around, so you learn to get better. But of course, I mean, winning is the easy part, losing is definitely the tough part.
So, talking about your experience at the Olympics, you've been there 2012 and 16. What are your memories of the Olympics?
Oh, well, firstly, I just need to say this because I loved what Heena said. It was amazing because it's pretty inspiring, especially preparing for pressure. Because I think in shooting, it's really specific and it's so much like you've got to be focused. It's pretty different when you're competing against someone else, like face to face. But it's pretty inspirational, Heena. I loved what you said. For me, the first time that I went for the Olympics, it was, of course, definitely a lot of excitement. And then we have like a year round of qualifying, and we don't look so far away because, like I said, we have a lot of tournaments throughout the year. We've got our world championships, we've got super series. So every single tournament's important. And during our qualification period, up until the last tournament, anyone can qualify. So you either qualify or you don't. And you never know up until the last tournament. So our initial focus was, of course, definitely to qualify for the Olympics. And after we did that, was doing well at the Olympics. But I remember in 2012, before my first match, sitting in the room and being unable to sleep. And it was shocking because that had never happened to me. I had like so much of excitement, so much of, I think I was excited as well as like nervous about the next day and having my first match because I really wanted to play well, that I couldn't sleep. And then I remember sitting in the bathroom talking to my mom and like trying to like figure out what to do and if it was okay that I couldn't sleep. But fortunately, things worked out all right. We went onto court, and once you get onto court and start moving, things get better. But yeah, my Olympic experiences are pretty well sick with dengue. So that again, I didn't really go completely strong going into the Olympics. But I guess that's a part and parcel of being a sports person. So you learn to deal with it. It's not fun. And especially in 2016, I thought mind over matter would be something that would definitely help me. But then you realize after some time that there's only so much you can do. But when you have something like dengue that zaps a lot of energy out of you, you can't do a lot. But yeah, these are lessons that I've learned. But overall, being at the Olympics is definitely an amazing feeling because you're surrounded by the world's best athletes across sports. And there's an aura at the Olympic Village that's close to none. You wouldn't feel it or see it anywhere else. So when you are a part of the Olympics and you are at the Olympic Village, there's this aura of confidence, excitement, and everyone's really happy to be there representing their country. And I love that. For me, I think that's one of the best parts about being at the Olympic or any multi-sport event for that matter. It's just this adrenaline that's there as a buzz that everyone's excited. You kind of pick up on it, or at least I did. I love the energy, and it's like you're waiting to get onto court to like perform.
Just the way I've been listening to you, I can see the excitement on your face as you're expressing your experience, and I can imagine what it is actually when one gets there. It's like a dream come true that one has finally made it, and there's so much to absorb that's happening around. So, yes, it can sometimes. So, do you think it sometimes gets difficult to hold your ground in the middle of all the excitement, Ashwini?
It's like a fun excitement, or at least it has been for me. Because I mean, being there and you see all these athletes, it really feels good to be there at a platform like the Olympics. And of course, that's one of the biggest for our sports and a lot of sports.
Yes.
And it's a dream for most of us to like go there and perform and do really well. So just having the opportunity to be there representing your country is an amazing thing. So of course, excitement in a positive way is what I've taken back from my last two Olympics.
Okay, thank you for sharing that part. Hina, I'd like to ask you this, that, again, as I mentioned, I've often heard from sports persons that by the time they reach the level of Olympics, there's a lot of training they have already done as far as the knowledge of the sport is concerned or the skill part of the sport is concerned. And somehow it is majorly a mind game by the time you get there. What are your thoughts on that? Of course, you have already mentioned about your first shot and your experience, but overall, what is your understanding of that?
Yes, you're right. The athletes that actually make it to the Olympics, there's very little difference between them as far as the technical aspects go or the hard work that they've put. The top 10 or the top 20 athletes are just right there, at par with each other.
Yes.
So it's really up to what they do on that day, that decides who wins that day. So there's a very famous saying that I read somewhere, that it's not the best athlete that wins that day, it is the athlete that performs the best that wins. So you may have someone which was completely unexpected to win, go on and give the best performance of their life and come out with the gold. So it's really anybody's game that day.
Right. And, I have to ask you this. Sometimes we have this, most people have this, they, depending on the sport they have expressed the importance of rest. So, as your competitions in your life came closer, did you take it easy or did you practice more? What was your strategy as you went closer to Olympics?
Closer to Olympics, meaning say 1 month to the Olympics, you don't want to push yourself a lot. You don't want to play unnecessary matches. Keep You want to recover. You want to enjoy whatever you're doing. Um, you would ideally try to take your amount of training down. So if you were practicing for 5 hours, you would come down to 4 or 3, and just work on very specific things just to polish things up, and leave the range with something good, something achievable that you can
Yes.
do every day.
Yes.
So say 1 year or 2 years before the Olympics, that is the time you want to learn, that is the time you want to break your technique in order to make it. But say 1 or 2 months before the Olympics, you just want to enjoy what you have learned. You just want to check everything is in order. You want to make sure that you're fit, you're healthy. You don't want to injure yourself. You don't want to change your equipment or anything. So just relax and trust the process that you have done for over the years. That is what you have to do for the last days.
Thank you for sharing that, Tina. And we'd like this session to be more interactive. So the guests are most welcome to ask their questions. And while we give a chance to the guests, I would request Mr. Tushar, if he has a question, he can ask the guests.
Hi Hina, hi Ashwini, how are you?
Hi.
Good to see you both.
Yes, good to see you too.
Hi.
Hi, not a question, but I'm sure there must be a major missing happening with both of you. Now Tokyo is just about, the Tokyo Games are about to begin. So I missed the beginning of this session. So if you've already spoken about it, how are you dealing with the FOMO happening around?
I think I'm gonna keep missing Olympic Games for the rest of my life. You know, one day will come when I won't be able to shoot that well. I'll be too old, and I'll just enjoy shooting in my head. And even then, I will feel sorry for not being there. I think I'll become a coach just to get entry into the Olympic Games village. I don't want to miss the I don't want to miss the fun.
Thank you for answering that question. Ashwini, would you like to
Yeah.
add something?
Well, it is tough. I wouldn't say it's the easiest, especially when social media is filled with the Olympic buzz and you see how awesome it is and you know that you're missing out. So it's tough, but then just trying to like move on and wish best for all the athletes there and be in the spirit of the Olympic and stay positive. But yeah, I'm eager to watch the matches and see how things are going to turn out at the Olympics.
Yeah, sorry, there was some trouble with my audio earlier. Thanks, Hina. Ashwini, I actually had a question for you. Uh, do you think, I mean, you and Satvik were in good form last year, and you were in contention for the mixed doubles for Tokyo before it got postponed. Do you think you had a better chance if the games were not postponed to
I
qualify?
wouldn't say that. No, I wouldn't really say that because in badminton, as you know, we didn't have five of the last qualifying tournaments that were
Right.
supposed to be there. So I feel like a lot could have happened had those tournaments been there. And prior to the Olympics, sorry, prior to the break that we had due to COVID, our performance actually wasn't that great because I had injury
Injury,
and
right.
we were laid off. We didn't play a couple of tournaments, and then Safik had an injury, so we actually hardly played tournaments the whole of the important, crucial qualifying year. So we were really looking forward to playing the last couple of tournaments. And like I mentioned earlier, in badminton, anything can happen up until the last tournament. Someone who's in the contention for qualifying for the Olympics could lose out on qualifying if their performances isn't good by the end of the qualifying period. So, which is why I was really optimistic that not just in mixed doubles, but also ladies doubles, because Siki and I did well the last couple of tournaments until the break happened, where we had five of our tournaments cancelled. I was pretty confident that we could do really well and make up for the not the best of starts during the qualifying period. But again, I mean, at that point in time when we heard that the qualifiers, the last couple of tournaments were cancelled, in my mind, it was like, okay, COVID is really bad in India. So it's okay. I mean, safety first, you know. But then after that phase is over, and fortunately we've come out of that really difficult 2 months, we realized that we didn't qualify, we didn't have that tournament. So that optimism kind of went away. But then again, you realize that it is what it is, and definitely safety is an important aspect. And for all those who qualified, I mean, it's absolutely because of the hard work that they've done and a great start that they've had. But I really wish that we did have the entire qualifying period, which would have given us a fair shot.
Thank you, Ashwini. And next, we have one of the members from our Instagram community, Akanksha. She has a question for Heena. Akanksha, you can please go ahead. Akanksha, am I audible to you? While we get Akanksha again online, we also have Mr. Navneet, in case you'd like to ask a question to our guests. Am I audible? Okay. While we wait for our guest, we do have a very junior guest. Her name is Iman. She has been waiting very patiently to ask a question to Heena. So, Ibadat, you may please unmute yourself and ask your question.
That when you were small, that when you were small,
क्या पूछना है इबादत? What do you want to ask?
that when you were small, then also you want to be a shooter or no?
When I was small, I wanted to be a doctor, but I still enjoyed shooting. I enjoyed looking at other people who were shooting, or I enjoyed seeing guns in my house. I always liked that, and that is how I picked up shooting. What do you enjoy doing?
I haven't choose.
What?
I haven't choose.
Okay, so in time you will choose. Till then, you can try everything.
Great, Ibadat. Thank you for asking that question. But see, environment matters. Even though you were interested in being a doctor and you ended up becoming one, but the thrill that the environment gave you brought you where you are today. So that is interesting. The next question I have for you, Hina, that we've had a lot of interaction earlier with Olympians, and while they have mentioned about the excitement, the medals, winning, the sport, but they always mention about the wonderful values and life lessons that one learns from sports, and especially when competing at the level of Olympics. As Ashwini just mentioned, everyone's there, the best from their country, representing their country. But these values and life lessons are valuable, and there's no replacement to those. Are there any such things that you picked up?
Yeah, a lot of them. I think I can say few out of those few lessons that I've learned. One, which is the most important, is always, I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to be a student in everything that I do. I'm always trying to wonder why this thing worked in this way, and if I do it this way, how would the result change? So it's a lot to do with how we train in sports. That if I change this, how will the result work? And you're always trying to learn from the experts. You're always open minded. I feel that I don't have ego about learning new things, and that's thanks to my sport. The other thing is, when I set out to do something in my day or in my life, I always, sort of make a plan of how to go about it. And then it's easy to stick to a plan rather than just have a vision and then no way to work for it. So that's another thing that I find very useful, which I learned from shooting. When we have a tournament coming, we already sort of like make a mental plan. How am I going to go about it? And then we start working backwards and things sort of fall in place.
Yes.
So that's another thing that I use quite a lot. Then, of course, there's discipline and focus, which just stays with you. Your daily routine, how you take care of yourself, and how you try to keep your body healthy. So those are other things that really help us in everything we do.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Ashwini, do you have any thoughts on that? Anything that you'd like to share about the same question?
One of the things that I love the Olympics for are the inspirational stories that keep cropping up after every event. And that's something that I really love, especially one story that I really loved from the 2016 Olympics was Anthony Irwin. He is a swimmer, and I love his story because he won the gold. Like he's won back like golds after about 12 years between events, so between Olympics. So it's amazing because he competed when he was about 20 and then competed again when he was about 32, 36. And that's something that's really inspiring. And for me, I love learning from people around me, and that's something that I really enjoyed while I was at the Olympics, especially taking in all these stories and learning from them and drawing strength from them.
Thank you for sharing that. And at this point, I would once again, give an opportunity to all our participants who are here with us in case they'd like to ask questions. Even though our guests have covered a lot from their learning, a lot from their experience of being at the Olympics, and what it really goes, what it means and how much effort goes into becoming a champion. But I just use this word champion. Hina, from your experience, you've worked with athletes. You've been an Olympian yourself. What really are the traits that one should, try to have or develop in order to, sustain or remain a champion?
I think patience is one of the biggest ones. Um, when you're putting in the hard work, when you're following your plans, when you're listening to your coach, a lot of things come with time. Even if you're doing a lot of things right, it may not start giving you results immediately. In fact,
That's important.
it may give you results after 2 3 years, because that's how long maybe you need to learn a new skill. So the important thing is patience over here, and having that belief and trust that what you're doing is for a reason, and you need to stick to it for a reason. And unnecessary changes um, are bad, but also not changing and being stubborn is also not good. um, the more time you spend in sport, you realize that things that worked for you in your initial phase may not work for you today, because you're a different person, your approach to the game has changed, maybe your body mechanics have changed, you've learned newer skills, you have forgotten few skills. So unnecessary changes are not good, but also being stubborn and doing the same thing even though it's giving you the same results is also not good. So having a very open mind and knowing yourself to the core, and trusting in your team, and first of all putting the right team around you is very important.
Very well said, especially with your point related to being patient and being observant with what works and what does not work. That is very interesting to learn. With that, Ashwini, on a lighter note, yes, when you're such an accomplished player, life is about training, being focused. But when not badminton, what are the things that keep you busy?
When I'm not playing badminton, I definitely love spending time with my family, love spending time with my friends, because I've actually been away in Hyderabad for a while due to our national camps, and we travel quite a bit for our tournaments. So that's not something that I get to do often, which is spending time with my family and friends. But when I do get time, that's something that I definitely love doing, because I do derive a lot of strength from them, because they're like my positive harbor. So definitely love spending time with them.
That's nice. And Hina, what are the things that are keeping you busy these days, other than, of course, the sport that you're busy with? But something you'd like to share?
Yeah, having a circle of safety around you where you don't have to perform, or you don't have to be a certain person in order to get their love or respect is very important. It gives a balance in your life. Like Ashwini said, she enjoys spending time with family. It's quite understandable, because the lives that we lead, the pressure and always trying to make ourselves into a better person, a better athlete, takes a toll. You want to come back to that soft cushion of your family and friends who are not there to judge you or love you depending on your performance. Um, you could find that sort of comfort in your friends, in your family, spending time with your pet, or even spending time alone. So whatever works for you is good. Just make sure that when you're spending time off the field, it should not be you should not be the center of attraction. Let others be be there for you, and you are just spending time with them because you want to spend time with them.
How beautifully said, Heena. And I think with that, in this entire session that we've been listening to Heena and Ashwini both, from your rich experience from the times you started your career to this day that you both are accomplished sports persons in your respective sport, the kind of things you've shared are very deep and very thought-provoking. And yes, I'm sure that everyone who's listening to you is inspired and may also look at you as role models. But this being our Olympic talk and sending good wishes to our sports persons who are representing the country, is there any message that you'd like to give, Heena, for our sports persons who are going to be representing the country at the Tokyo Olympics?
All the best. Just trust in yourself, trust the process, and just keep following the process. Do not think about the result. Just enjoy your sport and try to give your best. You will love yourself if you've managed to give yourself if you've managed to give your best that day. You will love yourself for it, no matter what the outcome is.
Thank you. Ashwini. We'd also like you to lift the spirits of all our Indian sports persons who are out there representing. What's that advice that you'd like to give them?
I would say make the most of being there, especially with all that's happened in the last 1 year. I mean, the fact that the Olympics is happening is a great thing. The fact that all of them are there is amazing. They definitely deserve to be there and they've earned their spots to be at the Olympics. So make the most of being at the Olympics, enjoy every single bit, and give your 100%.
Thank you. And I think it would be incomplete to close the session before giving a chance to none other than Mr. Ranjan Sodhi, who's also a part of this webinar. There's a lot that he has done to help us, mentor us at Manav Rachna Educational Institutions. So Ranjan, I'd like you to please ask a question or share your thoughts, please.
Thank you, Ashwini, and thank you, Heena, for being here. Unfortunately, Jordan couldn't join us. Otherwise, he would have enlightened us with his lovely Punjabi numbers. The Heena ji, ki haal hai ji? Theek thak ho?
Heena, you're on mute somehow.
What?
Heena's on mute. You need to
Yeah, Ranjan, I was saying you could lighten us with some Punjabi numbers. Even you're capable of that.
I know I'm capable, but I'm driving at the moment. So, I don't think that's a good idea, especially in Chandigarh. So,
Ranjan Tusharia.
yeah, hi, Tushar.
I was expecting to see you finally. I mean, you've been working backstage for so long. I was expecting to see your face at least today, but you are again like
I
backstage.
wish
It
I was
seems.
as pretty as the girls on the screen.
No,
I've
I will
definitely
tell you
shown my
what
face.
happened. I will tell you what happened. Ranjan called me fat yesterday. I said, okay, I'll see how fat you've gotten tomorrow. So he didn't come
So he's
because
scared.
I was going to judge how fat he's gotten.
No, I can always, I always joke with you. So, but it
Yes.
was lovely listening to both of you. It's so inspiring, and your, the journey and everything. Whatever you shared, I think whoever's listening, it's wonderful, and for me also, like it's inspiring me to probably give it another shot now. Maybe badminton. Ashwini, would you help me?
Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely let me know when and where. Definitely help you out.
I'll have to come to Hyderabad for that.
Bangalore now.
Okay, Bangalore now. Okay.
Yeah.
It's lovely listening to you, and thank you so much for being part of this webinar. And wish you all the best for whatever your future endeavors are, for both of you. And
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
all right, bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, Ranjan. And before I can formally close today's Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic Talk, um, something that Dr. Manav would like to say, wishing our Indian sports persons again.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank Heena and Ashwini for such a nice talk. and I wish that we should get lots and lots of medals for our country, because once once you see your tricolor in some other nation going high and your national anthem being played, it gives you goosebumps. So waiting for that day to see and feel that, and would give my best wishes to everyone from Team India. And thanks again to Hina and Ashwini. We'll be in touch and would like to take advantage of your experiences for our young budding badminton players and shooters to inspire them, talk to them, and connect with them.
Yes,
Thank you once
sure.
Thank you
again.
for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. And once again, Ashwini, thank you for your time. Heena, thank you very much. I
Thank you.
understand you're busy and you've
Pleasure.
still taken the time to be a part of this Olympic talk. Wishing everyone well. So thank you once again, and we surely hope to see you in person once things get slightly better and a longer association with you both.
Yes.
Thank you to all the guests who've been a part of Manav Rachna Happy Times Olympic Talk. Thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening ahead.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Bye.